Hello and welcome back. This is the next video in the certification called Sustainability Climate Risk or SCR. In this video, chapter 31 to 35 of this certification would be discussed. This is the presentation outline. Let's study them one by one. So as you can see, climate-driven financial risks are based in 4 different areas. The first is governance, then risk management, then scenario analysis and disclosure. For the governance, there is a need to understand and assess financial risk from climate change. Senior management is responsible for that, and they need to address and oversee risk within firm's overall business strategy and risk appetite. For risk management, material exposure is in ICAAP or ORSA. The risk reporting should be based on qualitative as well as quantitative measures. Firms should give the understanding of potential current and future impacts of physical as well as transition risk. For the scenario analysis, resilience and vulnerability of firms' business model should be discussed. As much as possible, short-term assessment with long-term assessment should be there. Long-term assessment need not be precise, considering the qualitative exercise that would be done for that. For disclosure, it should be as insightful as possible. Now, some of the events or shocks and how you can respond to that. So one of the event is weather events, which is storms or floods. As you can see, it can disrupt you internally, that is within your firm's operation and all, but it can also affect the supply chain, which is usually third parties. Due to this risk, there would be operational, credit, underwriting and reserving risk. Rising sea level, so home prices would decrease in those areas which are nearer to sea. This would result in credit, operational, underwriting and reserving risk. Change in temperature. As colder countries get warmer, it would result in less tourism such as skiing and all. This would result in credit, underwriting and reserving risk. New laws of government, so firms would have to incur costs for adapting to those laws, and if they don't adapt to it, then there could be reputational risk. Also, they would face the credit risk just because of added expenditure. Change in customer taste and preference, so world over, consumers are demanding move towards sustainability. If the firms are not ready for it, it could create reputational risk, and if they are ready for it, then it would create expenses which could create credit risk. Class action and lawsuit. So many of the volunteer organizations are giving litigation in various high courts and supreme courts in the world. This is reputational legal risk for the firm. Some of the risks are not foreseen by the company, and this could result in legal, regulatory and reputational risk. Now, what is the strategic approach to financial risk? So the first is governance. Board members should be accountable for it. They need to understand what is the risk all about and they need to integrate it within their business strategy. The ownership should be by the subject matter expert. Risk appetite should include risk threshold limits. The results of stress and scenario testing should be available. Sensitivity of balance sheet to change in key risk drivers and external conditions. For risk management, this is based in 3 different parts. The first is the identification and measurement. So usually scenario analysis and stress testing is used. They take help of historical data and models to understand short and long-term financial risk. All material exposures should be discussed that is relevant to climate change, and their assessment should be determined as much as possible. For the risk monitoring, qualitative as well as quantitative measures are taken. Their progress should be monitored against the overall strategy and risk appetite. For risk management and mitigation, the engagement of client as well as external parties to get more information about material risk affecting the firm. For the next, that is scenario analysis, it is used to explore resilience and vulnerability of firm's business model to a range of outcomes. Outcomes need to be low carbon based, and it should include short as well as long-term assessment. Scenarios need to be realistic, credible, consistent, and meet the regulatory expectations. For the disclosure, existing requirements to disclosure are required as per various principles. Disclosure are usually for enhancing transparency. They should discuss about the material or principal risk affecting the firm and develop and maintain appropriate approach to disclosure. As the firms would benefit in wider economy and should be in strong position to encourage it through ownership of financial assets. Now, as per TCFD, these are the 4 different core elements of climate change. Governance, as we discussed, it is about climate-related risk and opportunities. Strategy gives about the potential impact of climate-related risks to organization strategy and financial planning. Risk management would discuss about identification, assessment, mitigation, and reporting of risk. Metrics and targets are used to measure climate-related risk as well as opportunities. Now, one of the methodology that was discussed was based in agriculture. So for agriculture, the first thing that is required is the borrower characteristics. It is usually given by the existing financial metrics that is available, such as borrower's key operating assets, locations, and outputs. However, you need to have trade-offs between efforts involved in collection of data and quality of assessment. Insurance can also be used as risk mitigant for extreme climate and weather events. However, there is a deep uncertainty about present day coverage and future changes in insurance availability and pricing. Another model that was discussed was based in real estate. So the climate change has impacted probability of default. Production losses have been increasing, which are resulting in change in revenue. Agriculture is a sector which is quite sensitive to temperature as well as rain. Now, the risk to portfolio values, it can be given by the multiplication of probability of each extreme event into high-level estimate of change in property values. Now, how to assess climate credit risk? So the first is going from climate scenarios to financial risk measures. Most of the climate scenarios are qualitative. They need to be converted into quantitative measures which can be easily quantified. However, there are some of the methodological challenges. The first is historical data. Climate change is happening in future, whereas the data available is of past. So there is a data mismatch. Data granularity, how much data you need, that is always a big issue. The data and quality are the trade-offs you need to make. Climate risk exposure metric, so some of the climate risk exposure metrics needs to be studied. How they would be calculated, that is another issue. And then this climate risk exposure metric needs to be converted into economic impact, which would lead into financial risk. Now, climate scenarios are based in 2 parts, which is physical risk scenarios and transition risk scenarios. Physical risk scenarios, includes climate-related hazard models. It is based on regional studies and granularity. Climate change trajectory and severity is assessed in it. For transition risk scenarios, the level of ambition in terms of emission reduction and limiting global warming is discussed. How the economic impact is estimated. The first is the direct impact, that is the things that are happening to the firm. The second is indirect effect, that is to the external parties, suppliers, or maybe some other parties. Macroeconomic impact, which is due to the country that is you are in, so that would have effects on it. Now, in this, one model was discussed, which was based in carbon delta. So, in that, cost calculation was done for 3 different scenarios, which is based in 3-degree scenarios, or NDCs, that is nationally determined credits that has been there in Paris Agreement, 2-degree scenario and the 1-degree scenario. Now the total cost is given by required greenhouse gas emission reduction multiplied by the price that is required to reach that level. Technology mix. So it is computed by using one of the models, which is known as the MIND model, and also through 2-degree scenario of IEA's ETP model. For calculating extreme weather risk, there is 35 years of historical baseline that is used, and based on that, a forecast of 15 years is created. Now the cost calculation, so expected cost is given by vulnerability into hazard into exposure. This is how it is given. So this is a 3D spatial diagram that is showing this. Now the next topic, which is standard assets. These are the assets that have suffered from unanticipated or premature write-downs, devaluations, or conversion to liabilities. They are known as unvulnerable carbon also. There is a deep uncertainty, stigmatization, band value liability. Also, some of the disclosure requirement require that you need to disclose about the standard assets. Majorly fossil fuel companies would be affected, and today they are overvalued due to future climate regulation. The outcome to climate change would be worse if these assets are burned. However, if these assets are not burned or they are stranded, then it could lead to payment system disruption or credit flow disruption or asset value destruction, which would be a big problem to face. The problem is the standard assets in developing countries could disproportionately destabilize efforts to improve economic growth and sustain and socio-economic development in those countries. So developed countries need to do their bit. Now the thing is, investor exposure to standard assets, majorly upstream fossil fuel industry, agriculture and forestry, and tourism are the industries in which they are affected. How to manage this standard risk is a big problem, and companies are required to do that as they move in the future. And there needs to be new stock index, fund, bond rating, etc. to move carbon portfolio. Climate friendliness, that is societal obligation, which is investors seeks to contribute to greenhouse gas reduction and transition to low carbon. How to calculate exposure to standard asset risk? So you can use the carbon footprinting method. This would be discussed in next session. Through this, you can disclose portfolio level exposure of asset owners and managers. Portfolio decarbonization and divestment. So decarbonization is reduction in carbon intensity of investment and portfolios, including selective divestment, screening, and investment in clean energy. There are coalitions formed such as Portfolio Decarbonization Coalition and Montreal Carbon Pledge. Divestment means investors withdraw capital from firms viewed as risky and reprehensible business. There are many low carbon indices that are being made in all over the world. FTSE has one, there is one in S&P. MSCI has two different indices. These are passively managed funds, and since they are passively managed, they have low management fees. Usually, these carbon indices are in the sector energy efficiency, renewable energy, clean technology, etc. Shareholders need to be engaged, and to engage them, you need to enhance the transparency and disclosure. Fossil fuel companies such as Shell and BP are evolving to post-Paris Agreement scenario, in which they are doing low carbon landscape as well as testing. However, this would require time and resources. Screening method, so funds are negatively excluding companies that are carbon intensive. And finally, the green bonds that we studied, it is based in various green industries such as energy, building, transport, water, waste, climate adaptation, agriculture, and forestry. The good thing to note is that demand is outstripping supply at this moment, and it is a very good thing. These are the various green jobs that can be created based on standard asset. So sustainable agriculture could be like organic farming or efficient irrigation systems. Forestry activities could be some forest steward certifications. Renewable electric energy, there are so many sources: wind, solar, coastal, etc. Clean industry, many of the industries or many of the countries are creating their own certification of clean industry. Mexico has one, as well as US, and ISO has a 14001 as their own standard. Sustainable construction, which is green infrastructure, already many companies are involved in it. Waste management, recycling of solid waste is a big problem, and some of the companies are involved in it. Sustainable tourism, we see that tourism affects many of the places that are vulnerable to climate change, and hence there is a huge demand for ecotourism and adventure tourism. Public mass transport, as we studied, governments are doing their bit by investing in low carbon transport, and due to this, there is a huge infrastructure that is being created for public mass transport. Also, federal government is involved in sustainable programs. So these were the topics that were discussed in this video. I hope you like this video. Subscribe to this channel, share and comment, and we will meet soon.